an epic fantasy, an action-packed romance, a dystopian YA, and a literary fiction classic, oh, October is gonna be a good reading month. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Alexis Briana, and I am so glad that you're here. Listen, I cannot believe that it's time for yet another TBR. Like, where is the time going? I know I've said this every month, but it really feels like time is flying by. And this month, it has been a crazy month full of productions and shows, post-production, pre-production, edit, just all of the show-related things. And because I didn't have a full TBR list, I was able to sneak a couple of books in, but I know you're not here for that. We'll go into that all in my reading wrap-up for August and September, but I do want to apply the same philosophy to this month because I have two productions that are sliding into October's, and I want to make room just to be able to mood read a bit. So I'm definitely going to do that, and I'm also going to still stick to my hybrid reading approach where I read physically and audio. It's the best for just my lifestyle right now and just the hecticness of my schedule. So I'm definitely going to do that. Oh, and I did use my fall bingo card to select all of the books that are on my TBR for this month. So grab something to drink and let's dive into all of the books that I plan to read this October. First up, we have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, and this is one of my most recent pickups from Recluse Books, which is a local indie bookstore in the DFW area, and I remember seeing this book on the shelf and being like, I can't believe I haven't read this book or the series yet because I love the movie so much, and I want to make it a goal to finish the entire original trilogy as one of the cards on my bingo card for the fall, and I want to get around to the prequels, but I want to stick with the original trilogy first. I believe there's like 2 prequel books out, and then one of them or 2 of them have been made into a movie. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. This series is just so nostalgic for me, and I think that the fall time is a perfect time to dig into this series just based on what I can remember from like the setting and just the seasons that they're going through. I think that this will be a really good read for that, and I'm really interested to see how close the movies kept to the books and really just to see how much more depth is in the books versus the films. I know you can just include a lot more in, books versus films, so I'm interested to see the difference there. And if you're not familiar with this book, without giving too much away, it's a dystopian YA that is set in post-apocalyptic North America, I believe. Yes, specifically in the nation of Panam, and in that capital city of Panam, it has 12 outlining districts, and the capital forces each district to send one boy and one girl to participate in the annual Hunger Games, and it's essentially a fight to the death on live TV. And this first book follows one of those girls as she essentially navigates the deadly games, and it also just shows it shows basically how the capital uses the games to maintain control of the districts. And not that anyone asked, but I used to be such a flip-flopper between Team PETA and Team Gale, but now I'm actually kind of neither Team PETA, Team Gale, but I will keep all of my hot takes to myself because I know the girlies like to tussle about Gale and PETA, and I'm gonna just keep those thoughts to myself. So really excited to tackle this book and just really explore the world of the Hunger Games again. Really excited about this book. Next up, we have The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan, and this is the second book in the Wheel of Time series, and I have already gotten started on reading it. I haven't made it too far in it, but after the ending of the first book, I say, yeah, I'm not taking any breaks in between book 1 and book 2. I couldn't. So this book will actually serve as my, I think, book over 400 pages square on my bingo card. And I'm planning to use the same approach that I did for Eye of the World with this book. So for the physical book, I will read that when it's a whole lot of world building. I need to take notes and I really need to focus. And I will listen to the audiobook when I'm doing other things, or I just want to keep the momentum going. And this journey has been it has been a saga, it's been immersive, and it's just really been enjoyable. I really love how when you're reading this book, you really feel immersed in the book because the world building is just so incredible. And even though these books are massive, I mean, these things are brick, I really find myself just lost in just the world and just the enjoyment of it. And if you are not familiar with this series, I won't go too much into what the second book is about because I feel like it will give away the first book, and I don't want to do that. I feel like this is definitely a series that I wouldn't just give spoilers away. I don't want to ruin that experience for anyone. So what I will say is that this is a epic fantasy series, and I believe it has 14 books in it, and then it has a prequel in it. And it essentially follows a group of young adults who go on this world-saving quest, if you will. There are several challenges in the way. There's monsters, there's fighting, there's magic, it's a whole lot of things. There's a lot of things that are happening in this book series. And if you are a fantasy person or you're an epic fantasy person, I definitely recommend the series just based off of my experience with the first book. And yeah, I've just really been enjoying how this book has started off and excited to dig more into it as the month goes along. And let me know down in the comment section if you've read this book. Oh, if you want to catch up on just my Wheel of Time reading saga and just my experience of reading Eye of the World, I'll definitely link those vlogs down below. The third book on my list is Jewel Me Twice by Charish Reid, and this is a contemporary romance that just seems like it's gonna be a good time, filled with action and tension, and it's a second chance romance, and I don't know if I said it, but it's a contemporary romance. That's what I believe that it would fall under, and this is actually a recommendation from one of the staff members at Blush Bookstore, which is a romance-only bookstore that I visited during my Bishop Arts bookstore tour, and I enjoyed my experience there, so really excited to add this to the TBR for the month. If you're not familiar with this book or this story, it essentially follows a professional thief, Celeste St. Pierre, and she partners up with her previous partner, who was also a previous love interest that they had, and they are honoring one of their recently deceased mentors, if you will, last wishes to do this huge heist. And this book will technically, I believe, fulfill the free space on my bingo card, or if I read it at a bookstore or a library or outside, it also fulfill that card on the bingo list. But I'm interested to know, have you read anything from Charish Reid, or have you read this book? I think that this is just, it's really going to be a good palate cleanser for me because I have a lot of thicker, heavier books on my TBR. So really excited to add this to the TBR for the month. The fourth book on my TBR is Aphrodite and the Duke by JJ McAvoy. I hope I'm saying her name correctly, but I'm going to be reading this book via ebook through Libby, and I'm really excited about this Regency romance just because from what I've heard, it's like a diverse Bridgerton, but with like a twist. And I know the TV show Bridgerton is diverse, but like the books originally weren't. And this book series is supposed to like subvert the typical traditional romance tropes. And I sometimes would just like get into the mood where I want to read nothing but historical romances and Regency romances, and it's usually during the fall. And between Kayla from Kayla's Bookish Vibes raving about this series and Aaliyah from Bookmarked by Aaliyah reading it, I was like, you know what? I'm adding this to the TBR. I've officially been influenced, and I'm just going to kick off my Regency romance reading this fall with this book. And from what I understand, the book tackles like issues like race and class in the Regency era, and it's just I would say a unique way to tackle these things, but through like Regency romance. And JJ McAvoy is a new to me author, but I've just heard good things about her approach to historical romance, and I'm just excited to see like how I vibe with her writing. And because I'm reading it via Libby, there's not as much like guilt. There is a little bit of a time crunch because you got to read it in a certain time, but I'm really excited about adding this. I would say like more lighter read. Just from everything I've heard, I don't think it's going to be heavy. I think it's just going to be a fun addition to some of the heavier, thicker fantasy content that I'm going to also be reading this month. So really excited to add that to the TBR for the month. Okay, so for the fifth book on my TBR, I wanted to pick something that was going to stretch me, help me grow, really just help me look at the world in a different way. Like, I love reading just to have fun, but I also use it as a way to just help me grow and expand my mindset. So these books couldn't be more different. They couldn't be more different, but the first option that I have is James by Percival Everett, and the second option is I Surrender All by Priscilla Shirer. And James would technically fall under the read a community recommendation card on my bingo card, and then I Surrender All would technically be a book that I've owned for over a year. I'm pretty sure I've owned this book for over a year, or it's pretty close to it. Like, if it's not a year, it's pretty close to it. I gotta see when I picked this book up, but I'm pretty sure I picked it up over a year or maybe about a year ago. Anyways, let's cover James first because I've talked about this so much, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet about this book. So this is a New York Times bestseller, a National Book Award winner, and also a Pulitzer Prize winner. And this story reimagines Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Believe that's yes, Huckleberry Finn. And it's from the perspective of Jim, an enslaved man who essentially escapes because he learns that he's about to be sold and separated from his family forever. And this book explores freedom and friendship and really what it means to have lived during one of the darkest periods in American history. And I've just heard so many good things about this book, so wanted to add this. And I Surrender All is technically, I would say, Christian nonfiction. It could also fit under probably personal growth or Christianity. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a self-help, but this book explores really just the difference between salvation and discipleship. And it says to follow him not just as your savior, but as your priority, your first love, your Lord, to move beyond being a believer and becoming his disciple. And ironically, I have listened to so many messages by Priscilla, but I've just never read her books, which is a little embarrassing, but yeah, here we are. So I am excited about both of these books because I think that they have completely different vibes, but they will help me grow in a lot of different ways. So I will just see what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling and which one I want to tackle. But yeah, these are definitely two books that I think are going to stretch me and help me grow in different ways. And that's my October TBR. I am super excited about the books on the TBR for the month. And I'd love to know, have you read any of these books? Like, have you read anything from any of these authors? And also, what is on your TBR for the month? I would love to know if you're planning on seasonal reads. Like, are you team spooky and thrillers? Or are you like, no, I like cozy vibes? Or maybe you're like, you know what? I'm a mood reader and I read what comes to me in the moment. Definitely drop all of your plans down below in the comment section. I always love to know what you're diving into because sometimes I add those books to my own TBR. And if you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much and welcome to the end of the video, crew. I always love to know who's hung out with me until the end of the video, so be sure to drop a red heart. And I just really appreciate y'all for hanging out with me until the end because I know I be chatting it up. But anyways, if you like this video, be sure to hit subscribe, like, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss a new video from me. Until the next time, happy reading. Bye, y'all.